Well, good afternoon. This is not a video that I wanted to be making. It's not a video I expected to be making, but here we are. First thing I want to acknowledge is that you know, Kamala Harris, she got shellacked. She lost the election. And what did she do last night? Something we have not seen in 8 years. She conceded the election. So let's have a quick discussion about a couple of items. I don't know why my prediction was off. I have some thoughts and some reasons why it might be. Um, but are the keys right? Did my subjectivity basically kind of cloud my view of what the keys were actually trying to say? Or was the election 2 days ago so different that the keys didn't hold? We'll have a video in a couple of days and we'll discuss more about that. But on to today's topic. Yeah, it was a shellacking. It was a huge loss. We'll just throw it up real quick. This, as all of you know, this was my prediction. And my expectation was that Kamala Harris would win 276 to 362. Right now, we still don't have Nevada and New Mexico in, but it does appear as if the former president and now President-elect Trump will win those, and I'll take him a total of like 312 to 226 votes. People aren't really talking about how big of truly a red wave this was. The Republicans, the MAGA Republicans, won not only in the White House, but they also won down ticket, and they picked up the Senate, and it does appear as if they're going to pick up the House too. So President Trump will have all three elements of the government to support his agenda. He will have the House, he'll have the Congress, he'll have the legislative branch, he'll have the executive branch, and most of us believe that he has the judicial branch. So, this is the first time and he also won the popular vote. So this is the first time since 1988 in which a Republican won both the popular vote and also the Electoral College. He had extremely strong showings in suburban and Latino men. And that was a significant shift in demographics from the last time. So let's go on to her concession speech. Like I said, it's the first one we've heard in 8 years. It reinforces democratic norms. I don't think that you're going to see you might have seen. You're not going to see Democrats storming the Congress on January 6th. There is going to be a peaceful transition of power from the Democrats back to the MAGA party. So good for her on that. She had a lot of encouraging words to future generations. One quote is, "You have the capacity to do extraordinarily good." So we'll see how things go. But the purpose of this video today is let's talk about President-elect Trump's first day in office. There's been a lot of discussion about what's he going to do on the very first day. All right, let's get the crazy one out. He was asked, yes, he did say he's going to be a dictator for a day, but come on. Every president is a dictator on day one. They do not have support of Congress yet. They do not have anything other than executive orders. So people can get bent out of shape by him saying that he's going to be a dictator for a day, but let's get over that. However, he is saying some things that I personally think are democratically, democracy-wise, are just not the way we do business. But there was a mandate from the population for President-elect Trump to do these things. So what I'm going to tell you what he has on his agenda. It's up to you to determine whether or not you think these are good bad, or frankly, some of them are ugly. The first one, mass deportations. He says that on day one, it's going to be the largest deportation that the United States has ever seen. And what's interesting about his rhetoric on deportations is sometimes he uses criminal, sometimes he doesn't use criminal. Sometimes he uses criminal in the terms of everybody that's here illegally are criminals. So it's really going to be interesting to see what he considers to be the ones that need to be deported. Then the logistics of it is going to be a nightmare. I can't even imagine, you know, how this is going to happen. I'm sure he has at least a concept of a plan, but I don't think they have a plan for this one. The next thing he's talking about is universal tariffs. And this is an interesting one simply because the rhetoric over the last 6 years have been that tariffs are a positive thing. And I've actually got a video where President-elect Trump even says that he believes the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff, and that whoever he puts a tariff on is who pays for it. Frankly, it's not true at all. Who pays for tariffs? You do. I do. The end user pays for tariffs. But the universal tariff he's talking about is 10% on day one. And that's across any goods, and a tariff will be anything that comes into the United States. So that means that every good at Walmart, that every good on Amazon that comes in from overseas will then immediately have a 10% increase on cost. Well, probably on price to us. So then he's going to talk about going to 20% later on, and then potentially 60% on all the tariffs, or 60% on all goods coming from China. So that means that everything at Walmart, for the most part, and everything on Amazon, for the most part, will have a 60% tariff. So that will be a cost to the consumer. Economists said that this will be absolutely inflationary and that type of stuff. The next thing, from a judicial perspective, he is going to pardon everybody that he calls J6 hostages, or those are the folks who were arrested and tried and convicted of crimes based on January 6th of 2021. He will probably also pardon himself. I don't know if he'll put it as part of that group, but he'll do a self-pardon. He's also going to reinstate travel bans. Specifically, I believe I heard that his travel bans will be from, I forget where it was. Now, he's talking about doing travel bans again. Those were considered unconstitutional during the first Trump administration. We'll see if they pass mustard on this one. He's also talking about tax cuts, and we'll see what group he's going to go for tax cuts with. And then he also has some foreign policy goals that he's going to try to implement. Sorry about that. I have a technical glitch. That's the thing that's interesting about doing live streaming is I've got to get used to the technical side. So what does this mean for democracy and civil responsibility? So, there's a potential impact on immigration, on trade, education, environmental policy. Oh, that was another one that he's talking about doing on day one is he will get rid of all EV incentives and all EV mandates, even though there's not a mandate, and all of environmental policies that were part of the Inflationary Reduction Act, the IRA. What's interesting about that is when you look at a lot of the Inflationary Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Act, about 75% of all the money in those bills actually go to red states. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not, when we get there, if those pass muster through Congress, because many of those, I'm sure, red state congresspersons are going to say, no, we're not going to do that. So what do I think our responsibility is? Well, first off, we're going to have to be, my civic duty is going to be a guardrail for our democracy. How we're going to do that, that's going to take different ways. Myself personally, I'm going to invite anybody who wants to come on this show to please come on. We'll have a discussion. We need to be the guardrails. There is absolutely no reason to think that the mainstream media is going to be guardrails because they are corporate sponsored. When you look at the top 20 podcasts, the Joe Rogans, the Tucker Carlsons, the Kelly, can't think of her name, they are all pro-Trump supporters. So there is going to be an echo chamber on that side that continues. When you look at the top 20 podcasts for the left, there are none. So the responsibility is going to be on us as citizens to watch, to see how are these things coming down the pipe. What are we going to do in support of, and what are we going to do in order to fight back against? Because it's going to be a requirement. That's going to be our civic responsibility between now and the next election, is to be the guardrails for our democracy. That's about it for now. So like I said, I'll do another podcast or another video live stream on why I think that my keys failed. But those are the big things that I can see on day one. We'll have a day 100 show also. And if you've got any thoughts and comments, please just throw them down below. I'll get to them. And if you got any show thoughts, give me a ring. Thank you.